All right. Happy to give you more feedback on this website. You've really come far. I've checked all of the titles. You've got correct titles for all of these pages. Good job to that. You have a nice big image at the start, along with the logo and navigation. Um, Obviously, you've thought about brand as you've used the same colors over and over again. So let me just get to little nitpicky things. One, the navigation just kind of it doesn't jive in with the rest. And why is that? Well, you got rounded corners here, you got rounded corners here. Everything almost except for the footer is just another rounded corner. Oh well, okay, this guy's not. Um, so why don't we try rounded corner here, 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 and here? And I think you could do that if you set rounded corners to the nav. I could be wrong, but that's my hunch that this is all contained inside the nav. So we'll experiment and see. Number two, I do like the responsiveness of your site. If you want to get really fancy, you could make this picture bigger for the smaller ones, but you know, you think about your time and ask yourself, can I really do that? I do have a folder, so if you want to pursue that, I do have an example. I think it's called the Placed Images Site Root folder. I would show you exactly how to do that. Anyway, I was noticing when it does get smaller that the type seems a little big. So I would just suggest you take your media screen breaks. Here the size is fine, fine. Here, maybe slightly big, but definitely big on a smartphone. So I would just make rules for all of these in maybe this size if you have one roughly about here and another one here where the size just drops down to be a little bit smaller because just imagine that on your phone. It's pretty big text. So no big criticism there. A small change, I'm sure it'll take time, but something you can handle. The other thing I would do is try to be consistent with your padding. Notice here. Oh well, okay. I guess it depends on the shape of the photograph to some extent, but do try to get everything to be aligned. So it looks like these have different either margins or padding on left and right than the text does left or right, or maybe it's the box itself that has padding inside of it. I don't know. So you just look at that and go, okay, how can I get it all to be consistent? And maybe you don't have any margin on these pictures. I take it that it's in some kind of div. And you drop all padding and margin from that, and then this text, do the same. And instead, whatever this is, article or whatever tag it is, let that push it over. And then that kind of simplifies the process. And, you there's a suggestion. We'll see. You also might want to increase the gap between these a little bit more. You've done a really good job separating out little different thoughts like meet us at the summit or why Copper Summit, etc. Just a slight gap, so you can add margin bottom to these and push them apart a little bit. In particular, the footer just seems a little close to me, and I'd probably um, add some space at the bottom too, because well, even as I was going down there, it was like, yeah. Sometimes there's a bar that overlaps it, and I can't even read the text. That's a browser's fault, not yours. But you can just make a little padding for this text above it and below it. And then I'd add some non breaking spaces in between, right after golf and before the vertical dash bar. And then, maybe put in non breaking space. So that's a ampersand NBS semicolon, I think. Look that up. It's a non-breaking space. You can add like three here, three here, three here, three here, three here, three here, three here. And what you'll find is that the whole thing becomes more legible because it'll be broken out into simple pieces. And you may want to um, make Copper Summit Ski and Golf in bold. Just kind of have a differentiator between all those things. All right, so we talked about sizes, we talked about your responsiveness, we talked about consistency and padding, and consistency in rounded corners. So there and, maybe here. Um, since, I mean, it's everywhere else, so I guess that's my reasoning. And the logo kind of is curved to some degree. So why not just take it all the way? Um, but I'm impressed that you got this all figured out, and I can go to these pages and they flow. Um, I don't think I'm finding any link breakdown between these, so I can easily jump in between those. If you want to get really fancy, you could put a second nav down in the footer. A lot of places will do that, just because when you come down here, they don't want to lose you. They want to, oh, see, there's that bar. They want to gather your attention and hold your attention. So they give you one more way to get you back into the website, you know. So that's a smart thing. All right. So I think you're doing great. Good job. If you have any questions about those things, write me an email. I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks.